Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Woodburn.
I love that.
Hello,
man.
Bruce.
I still can't get over that. I feel like I'm in a boxing match here.
I know.
Sometimes, doesn't it sometimes feel like that? We're in this industry, right? It's just a boxing match. It's like,
sometimes I do. Sometimes I do feel that way. There's definitely a battle element to it. So
I would bet you that most industries are probably a lot like that anyway. But anyways, here's the thing. Number one, tomorrow is the big day.
Tomorrow is the election. Absolutely.
It is the big day. So a lot is hinging upon this right now. So the market since the drop of the Fed rate has not reacted very well. And there's no telling whether it's leaning in a particular political party or not. I can't tell that. I really don't know what the market makers are thinking. But if we look at what rates have done here, if we can check out, I got a chart up here. Are you able to pull that up?
Yeah.
I want to show everybody where we were. So this is back on September 18th when the Fed cut the Fed rate, right? Now, if we look back, we can see that rates were improving prior to the Fed rate starting on August the 6th, okay, 7th. And they got better and better and better. There's the Fed. And then look what happened to the market after the Fed dropped the Fed rate. Nothing but bad news.
So remind everybody that when that's the bond market. So when it goes down, mortgage rates go up, right? So we want to see.
That's right. And if you look at that, these are in increments of 50 basis points. So we were right around this mark right here, which was about 101.6. So 100.6 would be a full point, and then 99.6 would be 2 points. We have dropped back down here to 99.28 it is today. So 99.28, that means that in all intensive purposes, we've lost, let's just calculate this out, 101.6 minus 99.28 that is a significant amount of basis points that we've lost. So I'm not sure if people understand what that does, but that's almost 2.5 basis points. So putting this in perspective for you, 250 basis points would cost you 2.5 more points today compared to what the rates were on September the 18th. 2.5 points. So that's $2,500 for every 100,000.
Right. And so, and that's what I think a lot of people don't understand is how the mortgage rates work. Like you're essentially buying a certain rate by paying down certain origination points or discount points like you're talking about here, so that you can get whatever the par rate is, right? So if you're having to pay 2.5 discount points versus last month, you could have paid 1 discount point, right? That's 1.5 of difference there. So $1,000 to originate 100,000 versus 2,500. That's a pretty.
And most people aren't going to pay 2.5 to 3 points, or
they're just going to pay the higher rate.
So you bump up the rate in order to accommodate that.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Understand. So now, since you can't afford to pay all that money up front, instead you're going to go ahead and accept a bigger interest rate, which means a longer term payment.
So if we look at this chart, we can see where we've been. Okay. Now we look back in time. These rates were pretty tough back here in August, because if you recall, we were probably close to the 8% interest rates right there.
That was a tough time.
It was a really tough time. October of last year was a rough time. but we got better, then we got worse, then we got better, now we got worse. I'm thinking that this election, regardless of who gets in, we should see a spring back in here. Now, could we get here? Never going to happen. These were rates that were in the threes. We can expect that if we could get to even 101, 1.4, 100.4, we should be into the fives. And that's really where we would need to be.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's obviously we all know, by the way, that there's another big event coming up, right?
Well, we have another Fed meeting on here.
Besides the big election that's tomorrow.
That's right. We have another Fed meeting. So let's take a peek at what are the chances that the Fed's going to drop the Fed rate. Well, if you look at this chart, can you see that chart very well?
I can see it perfectly.
All right. So we've got a 99.7% chance that we're going to get a 1/4 point reduction of interest rates. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you guys this again, because I told you back in early August that if the Fed drops the Fed rate, we could see higher interest rates.
Right.
Now, that happened, and it happened significantly, as you can see on that chart. However, that doesn't always have to be the case. Eventually, as things start to settle, if we can get the bond market back in action and there's a flavor for bonds, then I think that we're going to start seeing lower interest rates again.
Well, so yeah, and we all know that they're disconnected, right? Even though we don't want them to be. Hey, do me a favor, click on the December 18th. You had the same.
Oh yeah, for sure, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me put you back on the screen there.
Okay, so let's
all
go.
Right, so yeah, click on December 18th, a tab up there towards the top, right there. Yeah. So,
all right, so now
there's already an 82% chance of another drop beyond the one that you got right there.
Yes. Now, what we don't know is, was it because of the 0.3% that may not have happened for November that now is going to happen in December, or is this an additional 1/4 point?
Well, I think if I read it correctly, go ahead and go back to November 7th. I'm going to show you how I read it. I may be wrong. Maybe you could teach me something here. So I noticed the number on the bottom is 450 to 475.
That's right.
Now click on December 18th.
It's the same thing.
It's 425 to 450 is 82%. That's an additional 1/4 point drop. There's a 17% chance it stays the same.
Well,
there's no chance that it goes up. At least as far as this is concerned, right?
No, there's no chance it's going to go up. There's no reason for it to go up. But I will and I'm going to say, well, and then we can even go into January. Look, you got almost a 50% chance
that it's going to go another 25 basis points.
Well, it would be difficult to tell that because I don't know. And look you still see the range here, right?
Well, that's the current range. That's the current range.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom, it's 400 to 425.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the whoever this FedWatch tool is created by, they're predicting a long-term slow drop of rates over time,
which is how it should happen.
Which is what should happen. Exactly. Exactly. Not like this where we had it where it just went crazy all of a sudden. So, hey, listen, that's awesome, man. Really good news. Obviously, we're all on pins and needles to see what happens with the election, simply so we can move on. I mean,
yes, let's just move on. And my phone stopped getting all these political texts. I swear I've got to clean up 50 of them a day. So I'll be glad to get this out of the way, be done with this. So listen, I want to mention one more thing. For all the realtors that are listening to this that are anywhere local in the Central Florida market. So Tom is going to be putting on an event with one of his business partners, Vinny, and you have developed a system by which you have created videos. I know primarily you are doing more videos to attract people to the lifestyle, the environment of each individual cities around the state. And it's worked famously for you. And you've put together a program to help other realtors, to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So Yeah, so Vinny and I have worked on this for the last few months, and we've created a 5-step program that a system, right, that will help people be able to help realtors and mortgage guys, right, mortgage folks, be able to help people figure out where they want to be, provide information. I do a lot of tours, not of homes necessarily, but of areas. Like, why would you want to live in Altamont Springs? Why would you want to live in Winter Park, Winter Garden? You know, and so we're going to expand that and help other realtors be able to figure out how to
Think
do
about
that
this. If
for
you're a
themselves.
realtor in Daytona, St. Augustine, New Smyrna, Cocoa Beach, anywhere in Brevard, Miami, uh, Tampa, St. Pete, down to Cape Coral. I mean, anywhere you can own that community, but you're going to have to get started on it so you become the person that people start to recognize. So
Absolutely.
that, how much is it to get in for this?
It is absolutely free.
All right. So I think you're not charging enough. All right.
It's we're starting this up. It's a free class, right? It's an hour and a half. We're gonna teach you basics. It can't teach you everything.
No, of course not.
So we've got follow-up courses that are going to be available. We've got some boot camps coming up. We've got some long-term things, because we've got some people that we're helping actively do this already. And so, this is kind of an introduction. But, if you're afraid of being on video, which I was about a year and a half ago, really, I don't say afraid, but I was just very concerned about. I was uncomfortable, right? And so it's good to be uncomfortable, but I'm way more comfortable on video now than I used to be. So,
well, it's obviously the more you do, the better you get, the more comfortable you feel, and the less takes you'll have. But
what this will do is it'll remove a lot of the angst about, like, how do I set this up? What do I do with this? What do I do with that? And don't worry about being perfect and all those things. Plus, we're going to teach you how to some tricks and tips on how to optimize YouTube.
It's interesting when I've taught video classes, because I've been doing them for years and I've found them to be extremely effective. But when I teach these classes and I ask the group, how many of you are doing videos and how many aren't, and the ones that aren't doing videos feel like it's just an intimidation thing, that they don't feel right in front of the camera. So I always ask myself, or ask them, do you think you look different in front of the camera than you do in person? Are you comfortable with talking to people in person? Well, typically they are. So what's the difference? You look the same.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, again, it is a little intimidating when you first start doing it, but once you start doing it, you realize that when you screw up, you just redo it. I've got so many bloopers and outtakes, and I've got videos of me that look really kind of silly because I'm just trying to create for the thumbnails for my YouTube videos. I'm trying to create something with a little bit of emotion in it, a little weirdity. I'm thinking, or I'm going like this, or and I've got videos of me doing that for 10 minutes, and I look like I belong in an asylum, but I don't want that escaping, all by itself, right? But we use those to take snapshots, right? And by being goofy in front of the camera, I realize it doesn't really matter.
Well, you know what? I think that people are attracted to people that are genuine, and that are not afraid to share the good and the bad.
Yeah.
When you talk about things that may be a challenge, when we see these Facebook people and everything's wonderful on their vacation and they're eating their lobster thermidor or whatever it is, showing pictures of them on the cruise, and, I'm living my best life. Well, you know what? Great. You're living your best life. But most of us live in a life of reality, and we have challenges every day. I have major challenges every day, whether it's a client, whether it's an employee, whether it's a transaction, what could be any number of things, just running your business. These are challenges that we all face. And unless we're realistic about them, then we can't improve. And if we really want to help other people improve their life, then we have to be realistic about what our challenges are and how we're overcoming them or dealing with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, man, thank you for sponsoring that event for us up in Daytona. That's going to be great. And it is on November 13th, by the way. So I think that is
at Halifax Yacht Club in Daytona. We'll get you the address, but you
I'm
can
going to post it in
always
the
call.
link below. Yeah.
You can call me. You can call Tom, or you can. Is there a website for them to register?
Yeah, I'll put it in a link down at the bottom of the when we post the video.
Okay, you got it, buddy. Hey, great talking to you. It's going to be a busy week. I'm off to Phoenix on Wednesday for a coaching event that I'm doing out in Phoenix, and
Good for you, man.
I'll be back on Monday to do the show.
Awesome. You have a great week. Talk to you soon.
You do the same.
All right.